Hi there, Marnie Perner here from Connect Natural Therapies. So I'm coming to you on a Facebook Live via my selfie stick, hopefully, and also my my mobile phone. For some reason, my iPad still will not let me change for pictures on Facebook Live, so I am adapting to technology. So today I'd just like to share about the time I ran over my mum. Now, you would all know that Mum and I were very close, and really it's not a good thing to run over your mother. But it wasn't intentional, and I will explain more about the process a little bit later on. But it all came about from, well, running over my mum didn't come about this, but many years ago when I was first starting kinesiology, I decided to, or I was invited along to a free essential oil workshop. And I thought, oh, that sounds a bit scary, but I'll go along. So off I trotted to see what this essential oil workshop was all about. And it was all these, what I thought was crazy people who were talking to me about essential oils and getting me to smell essential oils and tell me to feel the energy and feel my aura and all this kind of stuff. Now, I thought, well, they were quite crazy because at that stage I still hadn't accepted or adapted to metaphysical connections. Even though I was studying kinesiology, I still lived in a nice little square box. And look, to tell you truthfully, that night I thought the oils smelt dreadful. They were handing around things like frankincense and myrrh and all these other really heavy duty oils, and I went, oh, these are horrible. Was not at all taken by the smells or what they were doing. And in fact, when I came home after the oil workshop, I walked in the front door. One of the first things my husband said to me was, "Are you taking drugs?" I went, "No, I was at an oil workshop." So it was quite a strong smell. So not my favourite smell. However, I listened to the stories of the night and heard all the amazing things that people were noticing using these essential oils. And the essentials oils also come up a lot with kinesiology balancing. So I went, hang it, why not? In for a penny, in for a pound. So I ordered my very first kit, and I ordered a little kit that came with, I think there was 9 essential oils in the kit. And I decided, as soon as I'd ordered this kit, I may as well start using it and just playing with the oils so that I got to know how they were for me and whether I enjoyed them or not. So the kit came along, and there's a couple I love. I'm passionate about peppermint. Peppermint is one of my very favourite oils. Love lemon. Lemon's another one I play a lot with. And then there was another one called lavender. Now, lavender is a very normal oil. A lot of people use lavender. A lot of people love lavender. It's amazing as a natural therapist how many people I come across who actually are a little bit intolerant to lavender as well. But lavender ended up being my mum's constitutional remedy. She loved lavender, she related to it, she connected to it. I always tell a story of an oil when I'm talking to a client, and my story about lavender is lavender's grandma's hug. It's that great big universal hug, you know, the old Italian grandma that shoves your head in their bosom and does this to your cheeks, and it's just this unconditional love energy from lavender. Well, that's what I reckon lavender essential oils is. It's grandma's hug. Now, in my situation, grandma, aka mum, aka Carmel, she really was attracted to lavender. So she would use it readily and happily. If she was feeling down, she used lavender. When I made her an emotional healing mist, lavender was always one of the remedies that I put in it. And lavender was one of the ones that I used the day I ran over my mum. I know it sounds shocking, and it was shocking. It was a very traumatic experience. So I'll set the scene for you. The scene is Mum and I decided, Dad was away, and Mum and I decided to go, yep, you guessed it, to an essential oil meeting. So she was quite keen to come along and see what it was all about, mainly to keep me grounded so that I didn't get too excited about things. And anyhow, so we were in Dad's car, so I wasn't in my normal car. I would normally get out of the car and strap Mum in, but because this was Dad's car, she was used to putting her own seatbelt on, so I didn't feel the need to do that. So I reversed the car out of the garage. They have an automatic door. We have dogs. As we were going to, I sat in the car waiting for Mum to get in, and as we were waiting, or just as Mum was about to get in, I pushed the button for the automatic door to come down. The dog ran to go under the automatic door. Mum screamed, I screamed. I said to Mum, "It's okay, I'll get her, it's fine. So I went to get out of the car, not remembering for a moment that I had had the car in gear, in reverse. I still had the engine going. And once I took my foot off the brake, it didn't move. It didn't stay put. It started to reverse back. So out of the corner of my eye, I see my mum's leg go up in the air and I see her fall. But, I mean, I've jumped back into the car at this stage and shoved my foot on the brake and turned the engine off. Now, you know, for a few minutes, I was frozen in shock. I wasn't game to get out because I didn't know how I'd run over or how badly I had run over her. But, I mean, you can't just stay there, so I had to get out. So I got out and went around the back of the car to the side, and Mum had fallen very heavily on gravel, and she was laying there quite distressed. Mind you, the dog wasn't. The dog brought her ball over to play with Mum, but neither of us were very excited about playing at that stage. So I had to quickly think on my feet, what can I do to help Mum? One, how do we get her up? Because she was a heavy woman and it was hard to lift her. Two, what could I do to allay the shock? And who could help us? So the third one was no one. It was just Mum and I because no one else was at home. So I said to Mum, are you okay for a minute? I'll race up to the house and get inside and get some of my remedies out of the clinic. So she said she would be okay to do that. I raced up, I grabbed my oil kit, I grabbed rescue remedy, I grabbed whatever I could think of at the time and raced back down to her. We managed to get I put the garage door back up again and we got some mats that Mum could lean on because she was kneeling in gravel or laying in gravel. I had realised by that stage I hadn't literally run over her, but she'd fallen very, very heavily. So after liberally dousing her with rescue remedy and making her drink it and pouring lavender all over her, we managed to get her upright again and back in the car, and she had quite heavy bruising on her arm. She was quite shocked. And we didn't know at the time, but she'd actually had a very hard hit to her head. But we could put lavender wherever we could. We put it over her knees, we put it over her arm. She had the choice whether we wanted to still go to the meeting or not, and she said, well, why not? Let's go. So we went along, and my instructions to her was as soon as we get there, we'll go have a cup of coffee or tea and settle you down. Whatever oils go past you, know that the universe is saying to you, this is beneficial to you. So all that night, Mum just lathered herself in whatever oil went past. It didn't matter how it smelt. And we got home that night, and the next startling thing of the day was a power failure. So everything was in darkness. Mum couldn't go down to her house because we couldn't get the garage door up because it's electronic. So she sat with me for an hour or so until the power came back on. And I tucked her into bed, but honestly I had a very disturbed night because all the time thinking, oh my God, I hope she's okay. I hope there's no blood clot. You think all these crazy things. And the next morning I went down and I said, how are you feeling? And she said, oh, not too badly at all. She said, but, you know, my knee's a bit sore and my arm's a bit sore, but geez, my head's sore. I said, really? And we had a look, and she had this massive bruise all the way behind her ear and down the back of her ear here where her head had hit the car as she fell down. So once again, trusty old Lavender came out and we just lathered her in lavender oil and didn't think too much more about it. But you know what, for an elderly lady who fell very heavily, Mum had no great ramifications. She healed very quickly. She found it an amusing story to tell people, very inappropriate sometimes because I remember her telling them at Centrelink that I tried to kill her by running her over, and they didn't find it amusing at all. You know, I think they were wondering who they should ring. But anyhow, Mum was able to convince them that she was okay and I hadn't done it deliberately. It was all to do with a dog and a garage door. So that's my personal experience with lavender. I personally love lavender as well. But lavender, whenever Mum was in any form of shock or anything at all, we would use lavender for her and it would pick her up. The smell connected to her, what is called the olfactory senses, it enablized her or energized her energetic energy of healing and of love, and she would use it all the time. So we had a little bottle of lavender in just about every room of the house, so if Mum felt the need for it, she could use it. It's one that I use regularly in clinic. It's a great combination with smelling it with peppermint oil. You pass it under your nose 3 times, taking deep breaths. The lavender gives you that big grandma's hug, and the peppermint oil just sort of knocks it off up here. So it's a very, very good remedy for someone who's experiencing a headache. It just seems to clear the head but cuddle at the same time. So if you'd like to hear some more stories about my oil journey and why I use oils in my clinic, let me know. If you'd like to find out how you can get hold of some lavender or peppermint or purification or any of the beautiful oils that I use in clinic, again, contact me and I'm happy to share that with you. But it's good to know that Mum recovered and that she was fine and that she had no great distress over falling over. And we were actually able to use that lavender oil in Mum's passing as well. She was anointed with lavender oil. And again, it gave her great comfort to do that, and myself as well, I suppose. So just play with oils. If you find yourself playing or using something that you're not sure of what it's about, play with it. See how it sits in your energy circle. See how it affects you. How does it lift your life energy? How does it comfort you? And what's the story of what you're using? So I'm a great believer that the story of any product that I'm using in clinic is beneficial to my client on many levels. 1, it's an education. 2, it's an empowerment. And then 3, there's the physical aspect of it as well. So thank you for joining in. I've noticed a number of people here. I've got Paul, Linda, Robin and Patrick all popped in, and I think so did Kat. So thank you for coming along, and Gloria as well. And I look forward to sharing with you again in the not too distant future. I shall now see if my Bluetooth turns off, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.